Hello, welcome to Lessons Learnt. I'm Sherry. This is Monday Quilt Chat, but it is Tuesday. It is Tuesday, June the 16th, maybe? I may have that date wrong. Anyway, 2025 if you're watching this in the future. So, I was gone all weekend, had a little trip in the camper, and had a great time, other than it rained quite a bit where we were. But not unsurmountable to be able to do the things we wanted to do. So, yeah, we got back Monday mid-afternoon. And now I'm making this video for you to come out tomorrow morning, which is this morning for you. So, it's nice to be back. I missed you, and I'm ready to get back into creating and sewing and quilting and all those things we love to do. I did get a couple of things done this weekend, believe it or not. Before we left, I kind of went on a little tangent with some vintage embroidery pieces that I have. And I know you're thinking, what? You've never talked about that before. Well, years ago, I actually kind of got into the I don't know what you would call it, the hobby of collecting vintage embroidery pieces. You know, might be at the Goodwill or a thrift shop of some kind. You know, yard sales. Yard sales are pretty big in our area here. If you know, look out on the local marketplace sites and things like that, sometimes you'll see people advertising those, or it might be included in a yard sale listing on there. So I have quite a few pieces. Actually, I remember, I don't know how many years it's been, probably a good, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years ago, I ran into a yard sale, and, you know, I just saw it, you know, yard sale sign out in the yard, and went in, and the lady had everything on her enclosed porch, and it was a lot of vintage linens and hankies and tablecloths, pillowcases, all those types of things that had been embroidered. So vintage pieces like that. And I held on to, I took really great care to get them into a usable state. If some things had stains or rust stains, things that just won't come out, I carefully cut out the part that I could possibly use in a piece of some kind. And so, you know, I fiddled with that for quite a while, and just kind of got on the mood, I guess, to start collecting those things. And I have a bin of those things. It's not a lot. You know how my cubes are 12 by 12. It's a 12 by 12 cube. I've got like this much in the bottom, maybe a little bit more, of one of those cubes. And I've just never done nothing with them. I always thought that I would cut them into blocks and, you know, make quilt blocks, and then put all the quilt blocks together to make one big quilt. That was always my original idea. I didn't know, you know, what I would be doing with them more recently, like now. But I'm going to show you what I've been doing. This was just a little thing I went on, little tangent I went on before we left on our trip. I was kind of, I don't know if you call it between projects, but between the projects that I was planning on and had been working on. And I just kind of had a little gap there where I decided, you know what, I'm going to get those out and see what I can do with those little embroidered pieces that I have. So this was one piece that I have had for a long time and never made into anything. This was like my original block right here that I decided to make as the beginning of a quilt years ago. This is from years ago. Now these fabrics, a lot of them are from Moda. But then I have my vintage little cross stitch thing there. And then somewhere along the line, I had decided to put this on it. So I had this like almost, I think it's like a 7 by 11 piece here, and I decided, you know what, I'm just going to quilt that up and make it into a little mat. So it turned out really cute. You know, I did a little just diagonal quilting on it on my sewing machine here and bound it. I happen to still have this fabric on a board over there in my stash. I was shocked. I had this little piece on here, but I didn't know what I was going to use for the backing or the binding. And it turned out that I still had a piece of this. So I went ahead and finished this off. Now, before I finish this off though, and I think this is what got me in the mood to finish this, is I had overmade some of my half square triangles on my last 2 projects. Was it my last 2? It was on Twizzle and it was on the Pick and Mix. I overmade half square triangles. And, you know, I talked about all that and how that came to be on former episodes of Monday Quilt Chat. But I did. I put those half square triangles together and made these little mats, just like this. And I made 2 of them and I sent them to a friend. And I thought, hey, this is going to be my next random acts of gift giving. Is some sort of leftover from my project mat. It could be a large, I would call this like a large mug rug. It could go on a baby's chest of drawers or something. You could have your little decorations for your nursery, or, you know, a little basket of little, you know, creams and shampoo and things like that the baby needs. And then I got so engrossed in doing those 2. I think, let me go ahead, I'll put a picture right here if I took a picture of the 2 that I've already gifted out of those half square triangles. I'll put those here. And then this came later, even though I had already done this part of it, and then later this part, I finished it right after I did those other 2 that you just saw. Then I got to looking around and thought, well, this is a lot of fun. I'm having fun with this. So I got another piece of vintage embroidery out. I think it goes like this. I think this one was on a pillowcase. You know, like a border around the edge of the pillowcase. So someone has embroidered that. It's a little butterfly thing with a little, this part right here just kind of kept going across like this. And it was in 3 pieces. So I had cut that into 3 sections to use. And then this is all the fabrics that I used for the Twizzle. I don't think did I use this one? Yeah, I did use that one. So, all of these are from the Twizzle. And then this was part of the Twizzle. This was an extra fat quarter I had. And then the binding is an extra fat quarter that I had. So, it all coordinates really well. This would look cute on a dresser too. Like if you have softer colors in your bedroom. Could be a teenage girl. Could be, I don't know. It's roses, it's pink and green and all those soft colors. So this one's a little bit bigger. It's probably 12 by, almost 12 by 12. It's not quite a square. A little bit longer than a square. So I'm going to keep doing some of those. I'm going to try to make an effort from now on to take my scraps that I have from current projects and make some of these little mats for random acts of gift giving. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I thought about doing the aprons again. I've been wanting to do the aprons again, but this is a little bit different, and using the vintage linens that I've had for a long time, the embroidery, I just think that would be a lot of fun. So that's where I am on that. So I finished those, and then also I did some things on my trip. I took with me this, which is the Coriander Abloom panel, and I did get finished 2 of my blocks. So I had this one I had started on, and then I finished this up, and then I also finished this one up. So all the embroidery is done on those too. So I only put the interfacing on 2 blocks. I'm going to do 2 more. I don't think for me, I don't think it's probably wise for me to fix all of these up onto interfacing because I don't know how I'm going to use them. So I'm just going to do a couple at a time. I'll put the interfacing on and embroider them and keep going from there. My original idea, which I had mentioned before, was to put these in a setting of 9 or 12. There's 20 blocks in a panel. I'm not going to use them all in one quilt, I don't think. I might use them in different ways. They might not need to have the interfacing on the back. They may not be hand stitched. I might just use the stamped ones, which here's the rest of those. I haven't done anything with these yet. So I'm going to pick out 2 more and stitch those up and continue on. I liked having this little project with me over the weekend. It was nice to sit and grab it and do a few of those X's. Actually, I usually would do like about a little section and a half of an area. I could do it for about 2 hours, and then my eyes would just get kind of tired of watching the needle. So that was just the right amount of time to get those done this weekend. Just a little snippets of time here and there as I had to do some. Recent acquisitions, I do have some. I don't know if I'd call it some. I have the Tim Holtz teal, and I think I got this from Hawthorne. They have the monthly color of the Tim Holtz Eclectic palette for $33.75, something like that. And I know I had told all of you that Quilt in a Day or Villa Rosa had it for the cheapest, but this past month we saw something else happen. They either didn't get them in at the same time that they normally do. I know Quilt in a Day, by the time I found the fat quarter bundle, they were $40 for their fat quarter bundle, just a little bit under. And depending on tax and all of that, it may have been $40. But I did find mine for, I think with everything all together, I don't know if I paid shipping or not, but my whole bill was like $38 on this. So I'll show you each one of the prints. I think I got this from Hawthorne, and it was about that much. And then they normally have them for $33.75 each month, and I think their shipping is $5.95. So here are the tickets, and I'm going to try not to lean on the sewing machine because somebody said they couldn't stand that squeak that it made, and I am very sensitive to noises myself, so I'm going to do everything I can not to do that anymore. So this one is like, I don't know what this is. It's like a tin ceiling. You know how they put those ceiling tiles up and they're made of tin? I think that's what that is. And then here's the maps. And it looks like the maps are coming from, oh, it's hard to tell. Pla de Port Royal. Isle of Port Royal. I don't know where that is, but that's what it looks like. And then this one is all of the tags. They look like tags of some kind. Luggage tags, maybe? I see luggage on there. And then this is the amoeba looking one. The colors are great. I love the color. Of course, I love teal everything, so this is right up my alley. Here's kind of a vintagey, softer one. A little bit of a floral touch to it. And then this one is kind of like a royal insignia or maybe a fountain. It's hard to tell. Turn it this way. I really don't know which way is up on that. Has a little bit of rusty orange in it. Now here's probably my favorite one of this whole bunch. Look at these moths and butterflies. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Love that. And then here are the stamps, the little stamps. Here is the memorabilia with the old photos and all of that. Hope I was holding them in the right place for you to see them. Probably not, but you get the idea. Now the next one that I'm a little bit late getting these. I think everybody was late getting them as far as, you know, the people who sell them, the quilt stores. The next one I think is blue, just regular blue. And after that they have an indigo blue, and it's really, really pretty. And then after that, I know there's a multi. And I also noticed that in the multi, which comes out in November, you can get 108 in that multi, and it matches all of these. So if you did make an entire quilt out of these different colors somehow, you could get a backing that would match. No matter what colors you used, it would match. The backing would. So there is Eclectic Palette by Tim Holtz for the teal versions. And I think that's it for recent acquisitions, I believe. I have some things coming. We had our mail held while we were gone, and I think probably tomorrow when the mail comes, I will have some other things that I had ordered that have come in. So probably have a big haul next week. I did get in this magazine. I'm not going to go through it page by page. It's the American Quilt Society American Quilter magazine, and most of this magazine are pictures of the quilts at Paducah, the winners, and also at Branson. So the majority of the magazine is that. But I did want to point out there's a nice article here about Nancy Zeman. And if you remember, if you've sewn for a while, you know Nancy Zeman is kind of a pioneer in the sewing world. And there's a nice article here. Probably in the last year, I saw a documentary, a really well-made documentary actually, on Nancy Zeman. It was very enlightening to see what her background was and challenges that she overcame to accomplish what she accomplished and so on. It was really nice. But if you don't get this, you can go to AmericanQuilter.com and get yourself a membership, and you will get the 6 issues of this for free with your membership. And the membership also will get you some free patterns and direct you to quilting websites that have sales and things like that. It's about $25, I think. And occasionally there are notions and patterns and things like that you can buy too at a discount. This right here that I get, the art calendar, you can get it a little less on the cost of that. I don't know, if you want to be the shows, if you live near where the shows are or close enough to drive to a show once a year, you'll get a discount on your tickets for that. So a lot of perks with it. I'm not affiliated with them or anything. I just have my own membership, and I share things out of this magazine with you from it. So let's see here. I think that's about all I'm going to be able to get into today, other than our art quilt, and I want to show that to you right here. And it's called Annalise, My Wild Vintage Rose. This is a big quilt. It's 96 by 96, and it's by Christy Evans of Box Elder, South Dakota. And it says here, while working on this quilt, Christy made use of several different techniques, including curved piecing, floating points, and outline veining. Christy found that the most fun part of this quilt was sourcing the leopard print and all the fabrics used. The reproductions used came from a quilt that's kept within the Quilters Museum of the British Isles collection. Christy worked with Jan Hutchison to get the quilt quilted. Since then, the quilt has been shown in several shows, including a few AQS shows. The pattern is Vintage Rose, and it's by Judy Niemeyer of quiltworks.com. Yes, that definitely looks like a Judy Niemeyer pattern, does it not? Lots of detail here, lots of teeny, tiny pieces there in all of that detail. And she says the most fun part was sourcing that leopard print and all the fabrics used. Yes, that would be very fun to do, to come up with this quilt. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. That's quite a quilt there, isn't it? That's quilt goals as well. That happens a lot here. When I show the quilt, it's like, oh, that's quilt goals. I'll never be able to do that. But yeah, you can. If you put your mind to it, you can do anything. So we'll have some more coming up in coming weeks, as always. Love this little planner. Love it. All right, so this week I'm going to continue on with, well, I don't know what I'm going to continue on with. I kind of do know what I'm going to continue on with, but I have a project going on that I'm not going to mention just yet, and I need to really get started on that. And you know what else I need to finish up? Well, of course, I have plenty of quilt tops to quilt and quilted quilts that need binding, but I also need to get my fair quilts ready and get that off my mind. I'm almost done with the Happy Days hand sewing the binding on, and I'll be making a hanging sleeve for that. I need to get the binding on the Anne of Green Gables and then hand sew that down and put a sleeve on. So those are my focuses right now. So Wednesday I'll come back, and I think what I'm going to do is I'll make one of these little mats with you with the vintage linens. And we'll just make one of those together, and maybe you'll start collecting vintage linens too. Maybe you have some. Maybe you have inherited some. Yeah, I think I probably inherited some, didn't I? Maybe I should go look there also and see if there's something I can make like that with one of those. All right, have a great week. Keep busy sewing. Have fun sewing. And Blue, would you like to say hello to Katie? I think he said hello, Katie. I say hi too. All right. Thanks for tuning in, and I love all of you subscribers, some whom I know specifically by name, some I don't. But I love all of you watching and tuning in each week, and I really appreciate you. All right, we'll see you back here on Wednesday for that fun mat video. We'll see you soon. Bye.